The NBA playoffs start the second week of April, with the NHL playoffs scheduled to begin immediately after. Whether you're looking to raise the Stanley Cup or lift the Larry O'Brien Trophy, we've got the deal for you. Postseason subscriptions are already a great deal at $219, but with this early bird special, we're slashing it even more to just $177 each, and you get the rest of the regular season for free. Between now and Sunday, April 9th, partner with your favorite NBA or NHL handicapper and get their NHL or NBA best bets all the way through the finals. No coupon is needed. Head to the homepage of your favorite WagerTalk or Sports Memo expert and finish the NBA and NHL postseason with a bang.
Welcome into First Pitch for Friday, April 7th. I am Drew Martin, joined by Tokyo Brandon, Ralph Michaels, and Adam Trigger of WagerTalk.com. We are breaking down the Friday night slate, guys. We got big game breakdown, best bets as well. Come join us in the live chat box. And if you're watching on replay, feel free to comment below. Guys, we got best bets at the end, but we're going to get right into big game breakdown here. We got Ralph Michaels up first. If you guys haven't checked him out at WagerTalk.com, he's off to a hot start on the bases, 11-2, 85% start to this season. Ralph, I know you know the Cleveland Guardians pretty well here, and they're hosting the Mariners. What are you looking to do here with the Guardians and Mariners on Friday night action?
Well, full disclosure, very happy to be off to 11-2 start. I've changed philosophies quite a bit. Basically, I'm going exclusively first five, unless the bullpen has a significant edge like the Guardians do. And I don't study all the players. I don't know every team. I don't know every pitching staff. But I look for situations and basically look at a 5 to 7 game sample size, current form of the starting pitcher, current form of the team batting, current form of the team fielding. And obviously the Guardians, I know more than every other team there is, and I watch them. And the Guardians pitching staff last year is a homegrown young staff, which just has become incredibly cohesive, and they really build off each other. You look at the Cleveland whip, the team whip this year, number 6 in Major League Baseball, Seattle number 14. You look at Cleveland hitting, their on-base percentage, they're number 13, middle of the road. But when Ramirez is hitting in the middle of the lineup, it changes the entire dynamics of this team. Seattle's on-base percentage, by the way, number 25. Cleveland, always a good fielding team. Seattle has been very error-prone this year. So when I go through the checks, not only is this Cleveland's home opener, and there will be some weather issues. My son talked to me a couple of days ago. He said, Dad, it was 80 degrees, and it's going to be high 40s for the home opener. That always seems to be the case if you're an Indians/Guardians fan. But Savali, pitched a great game. Indians won 2-0 last time he pitched in Seattle. His last 4 starts against Seattle, a 2.89 ERA, 25 strikeouts, 5 walks. Mariners hitting only .222 against Seattle against righties. So it checks all the bars. Better hitting, better fielding, better pitching. We have a home opener edge. So to me, laying 125 with the Guardians, quite a bit of value.
$1.25 there from Ralph Michaels. Ralph, quick follow-up. You brought it up at the end there. Home opener edge. Guys have actually asked me this. How much would you kind of quantify that for? Is it just something kind of in the back of your head? Hey, it's the home opener, maybe a little edge.
Well, the Indians' home openers have been good. There's a lot of times, Drew, and it's a great point. I can't go to the database and I can't pull home openers for each team. I guess I could do game 1 openers and then try to find scenarios, but a lot of times it's a negative. Homecoming's normally a negative. Parents' weekends are sort of a negative. But since the Guardians had a game off from playing on the road the first 7 games of the season, that's a bigger difference for me than coming home from a road trip, trying to get situated with no day off, and then having the home opener.
Yeah, it's kind of a tough handicap in itself. Like one of those like under the radar things is when a young pitcher comes back to his hometown for the first time. A lot of people think like, oh, I want to bet on that. I actually look to go against that type of scenario, Ralph, just like everybody texting them, wanting tickets like that. It's just, these little kind of angles in MLB is what makes it fun as a handicapper and trying to find edges.
Drew, you
Go ahead.
pointed out young pitcher, I agree with, but there's many times that we see veterans who a team released and they come back. I actually look to play on the veteran situation for that, because if you're an established pitcher and you're not nervous, but there are emotions because you want to prove this team wrong, I think that's a different scenario.
Yeah, good point there. At Cal Sports LV on Twitter. Check them out, WagerTalk.com. Again, guys, Ralph off to the 11-2, 85% start on the bases. Another guy that is red hot is Tokyo Brandon. Check him out at WagerTalk.com. Guys, he's on a 25-3 baseball run. Man, Brandon, congrats on the great start here. Hopefully you keep it going. We got big game breakdown, Milwaukee and St. Louis I'm seeing. What are you looking to do in this game?
Thanks, Drew. Yeah, would love to keep it going. Plus 47 units in the last 3 days. So, yeah, running pretty hot. I'm going to look at the Brewers-Cardinals game here. And the way I'm going to break this one down is starting pitchers against the other team's lineup in their careers. So if we look at Woodruff is one of the best pitchers in Major League Baseball. And career-wise against the Cardinals. Now, both of these teams have really good lineups. If you look at their WOBAs, both of them are ranked in the top 4 in WOBA for lineups. But Woodruff, in his career against Cardinal batters, has a batting average against of 194, only 5 home runs and 144 at bats. So he's been really good against the Cardinal hitters. And Flaherty, on the other hand, is 276 with 7 home runs and 76 at bats. So I give a pretty good advantage here to the Brewers, and just Woodruff is just too good. So I really like the Brewers in this one. The line is 155 when I checked it, and I'm seeing now on the WagerTalk odds screen that it's 165. So that's pretty steep. So in a situation like this, what I like to do is I'll put half on the run line and half on the money line. I would just go run line, but the Brewers are at home, and as you know, if the home team's winning, they don't bat in the 9th inning, so there's only 8 innings of at bats. So betting run lines for home teams can be kind of a dicey situation. So in this case, sometimes I'll put half on the money line and half on the run line, which is equivalent to a -1 bet. So if they win by 1, it's a push. So that's how I'm going to approach this game. I just like Woodruff way more than Flaherty, and in the past, Brewers bats have been pretty hot and cold, but they're really hot right now, and they've been playing some good competition as well. So I like the Brewers here.
Tokyo Brandon, sharp call there on the -1 line, guys. If you're new to betting baseball, he mentioned it a little bit. It's 9 at bats to 8 at bats for the home team, and you got to win by more than 1.5. You got to win by 2 runs. So to kind of split the bet there, and you'll push if they are up by 1 run. Sharp angle there from a guy that's 25-3 out the gate in MLB. Check him out, Tokyo Brandon, WagerTalk.com. Guy that knows something about hot streaks is Adam Trigger. Guys, if you missed it in college basketball, I don't even know how many games you won in a row, Trig. It was like 14, 15, something crazy like that, man. I know it's been a heck of a 2023 for you in terms of the profits. Congrats to you, Trig. And guys, he knows his baseball betting as well. So check him out, Adam Trigger, WagerTalk.com. Trig, what do you got for big game breakdown, man? The Diamondbacks and the Dodgers I'm seeing here. This is a series. The Dodgers, I believe it's 40-11 since August of 2020. They've dominated this series. What are you looking to do in the desert?
Yeah, Drew, so I did get up to 14 straight in college hoop. Hopefully we can get there at some point during the baseball season. I've got 4-0 in Korean baseball right now. I hope to heat up in the majors as well, in the MLB as well. In this series, Drew, I'm looking to play on the Diamondbacks at some point. This didn't make my client card, but I want to point out that I think the run line here is a good bet. Like numbers-wise, most sites have this like plus 190 right now on the money line. But you can get the Diamondbacks plus 130 with the 1.5 start. I think that just from a straight-up numbers play is a good bet. Now, obviously, we factor in the starting pitching. Madison Bumgarner, people are not high on him, rightfully so. I suppose he's sort of, trending downward in his career. Clayton Kershaw, still a very dominant pitcher. So it does make sense that the price is where it is. But this is the 13th matchup between these two throughout their careers. It's actually 6-6. So Bumgarner and Kershaw have actually split the 12 meetings. Their teams have split the games. And And Bumgarner tends to be good in a one-off scenario. I think he may want to, make amends for a poor start last week against the Dodgers. And this should help the Diamondbacks, having just seen Kershaw a week ago. Now, just in general, Drew, the Diamondbacks are a team that I think are going to start to trend upward. I love the team speed. We've seen stolen bases be a thing so far this year in terms of a positive thing, right? We're seeing more steals. Teams, are using the stolen base more, and no team has used it as much as the Diamondbacks, who, have one of the top steal rate in the league so far. Corbin Carroll, Drew, has the top sprint speed in Major League Baseball. If you haven't seen this kid play, go tune into a Diamondbacks game. He's incredible. He is arguably the fastest sprinter in the major league, and he also hits for power. He's a rookie, and I think he's just going to continue to do good things. And they have just speed across the board. So they're an offense that I want to play on here. Christian Walker has great numbers against Kershaw. And, the Dodgers, they're minus 250 on the road. It was a sellout last night. There was a lot of Diamondbacks fans there. There's a good vibe around this Diamondbacks team in the Phoenix area this year. I think Arizona is a play-on team, Drew, and they've alternated loss-win so far this year, which means they're 3-0 coming off of a loss. So I would play on the Diamondbacks here, and just from a straight-up numbers play, that +1.5 with +130 attached to it seems pretty good. I'll take the Diamondbacks to keep this one within a run and hopefully get an outright win.
Like the analysis there, Trig, and in the fact that you brought up, almost like teams that run and get on base is something you're looking to bet out the gate. I mean, do you have any other teams circled like that? It sounds like you have the Diamondbacks because I almost feel coming into this season and what we've seen in the first week that you're onto something there. It's almost like changed how I'm looking to bet the game. Teams that can get on base and then move runners around, it's become more valuable this year than any year I can remember off the top of my head. So is that something you're looking to do with multiple teams? And if so, do you have any other teams circled?
It is now. I mean, I didn't put a ton of stock in it in the off season, but just go look at the steal numbers for the first week of the season or week plus, wherever we're at right now.
Okay.
They're increased across the board. So going into yesterday's game, I would have to go and see what they did, in terms of, but going into yesterday's game, the Diamondbacks were stealing at a 90% clip. I think they were 9 of 10. And I have to go back and jot down the numbers from yesterday's game, but they were also attempting as many stolen bases as anyone in the league. Top 5, attempt rate. And they have a couple of the fastest base runners in the league. So to me, on a team like the Diamondbacks, who I think are a little bit undervalued, I think that's going to play, at some point. And right now, coming off of a loss and being undervalued against a Dodgers team that's I think is a tad overvalued based on where they usually are, I think it could play in this series. So +1.5 and getting plus money on that and decent plus money at +130 seems like a good bet to me, Drew.
And Trig, you're off to a 4-0 start, I believe, in KBO, kind of the other side of the world there, guys. If you like betting stuff like overnight, Trig and Tokyo Brandon both bet the Asian League Baseball. Is there anything you've brought over from being successful betting KBO to MLB with these rules changes that you think can kind of help you out the gate here in the first half? Because hey, as a sports bettor, looking for change is kind of, at least in my opinion, the best way to win. We got that change, and it's almost like because I remember you mentioning KBO is more of like a contact, less swing for the fences type of league.
Yeah, I mean, so KBO still doesn't really, the rules didn't change at all there. So it's, they're very much more traditional baseball rules. So I don't know if it translates, but yeah, I mean, the KBO, so for example, in that league, injuries are far sort of more impactful than they are here, but we're starting to see more and more lineups being shuffled, especially earlier in the season. So it's definitely something I'm paying attention to, I think more than years past. And just because I've had so much success in KBO, Drew, really being on top of lineup stuff and who might play and who might not play. In the majors, it's a little bit more everyone knows it. It's not a secret like it can be in Korea, but still kind of knowing when there's going to be wholesale rest can still, help you cash a ticket here and there.
Okay. And Tokyo Brandon, anything on that in terms of the rules changes, maybe a shift in what you're looking to bet in MLB, and anything you've learned from betting, the Asian leagues and bringing it over to MLB?
Yeah, I don't make too many correlations between Asian baseball and Major League Baseball. They're pretty much apples and oranges. But one
Okay.
thing about the rule changes in Major League Baseball, everyone's talking about the pitch clock and the batter clock. But one rule that people are kind of not paying attention to is the fact that pitchers are only allowed to throw to first base if there's a runner on. They're limited to how many times they can try a pickoff. So that's why we're seeing more stolen bases in Major League Baseball now. The rule has limited how many times you can attempt to pick off. So runners are being more daring because they know a pitcher can only throw over 2 times. So runners are being more daring. There's more stolen bases, and overall scores are much higher this year than they were last year in Major League Baseball.
Sure, different markets to get after. And speaking of different markets to get after, guys, we got a first inning chart here from Ralph Michaels, WagerTalk.com. Again, guys, where you can find his premium packages. But at Cal Sports LV, he tweets this out, and it's about teams scoring or not scoring in the first inning. Ralph, this is great stuff, man. And this is kind of like a growing market here. People they don't like to wait around long to see if their bets cash. And sure enough, I've heard bookmakers talk about how they're taking more and more action on this. This is great stuff here, Ralph. Do you mind explaining this a little bit?
Absolutely, Drew. Now, I have not handicapped it because I have not found a handicappable position, but I'll be studying it this year. So, just because there's a market to sell doesn't mean to jump in and sell the product. But basically, I just want to provide information. I load this for free every morning on Twitter. My Twitter is @CalSportsLV. And while knowing how many times a team or a game has scored in the first inning or not is important, I took it one step further, and it's color-coded with the explanation on the bottom. The dark green means your team scored in the first inning. The light green with the yes or the Y means your opponent scored in the first inning. And if it's a blue, it means both teams scored. So example, the Atlanta Braves right now, if you bet the Atlanta Braves the last 6 games, yes, there will be a run in the first inning. You are a perfect 6-0. But when you look at the Braves, you could break it down and even say, look, in their last 4 games, they have scored in the first inning. And in 5 of the 6 games, they've scored the first inning. So be careful when you're looking at a streak of yeses. If you have a horrible pitching staff and you're playing a good opponent and then you switch series, I don't consider that streak to carry over. If your team, like Atlanta, with 4 straight first inning runs, and Seattle with 4 straight first inning runs, they were off yesterday. Hopefully they don't score against my Guardians today in the first inning. Those streaks are applicable. So I'll be tweeting this out every day. I'll have at least the last 10 days so you guys can see what they've done, and perhaps it can give you some value playing yes or no for those first inning runs.
At Cal Sports LV, a great follow there on Twitter. That's Ralph Michaels, WagerTalk.com. Guys, going around the horn here, best bets. Let's get into it. We got Tokyo Brandon here. Guys, again, he's 25-3 out the gate in baseball, red hot. In Tokyo, I believe you got a Tokyo Brandon, that is, a player prop here in baseball. Any final thoughts for the show and best bets?
Yeah, so like you said, I'm on a 25-3 run, plus 47 units in the last 3 days. So things are going well. I do have a play out in Major League Baseball right now. I haven't put my Asian baseball plays out yet, but I should be doing that in about 3 hours. So come back to my page at WagerTalk.com to see what I have. For Adam and I, who are doing Asian baseball, we're allowed to put plays out for $9 every day. So huge value and good winning percentages in those leagues. So on to the best bet. I'm going to the Phillies Reds game today, and Trey Turner's red hot, and he's batting leadoff for the Phillies, and he has a history against Green, who's starting for the Reds today. He's 4-6 lifetime with 1 home run against Green, and I looked at his player prop to score a run is plus 110 for Trey Turner, which I thought was crazy because the Phillies have been playing really good competition, and Trey Turner's a great leadoff guy. Just for him to score a run with those hot cleanup bats behind him, 110, I think it's great value. So I put this out as a client play, a 3% client play. The Phillies have been facing really tough pitching so far. And today, Green, I know he's got a good reputation, but I've looked at his peripherals and I don't like him at all. And Trey Turner loves him though, because he's 4-6 with a home run lifetime against him. I expect Trey Turner to get on base, and I expect the Phillies really good cleanup 3, 4, and 5 hitters to knock him in at least one time in this game.
Tokyo Brandon. Guys, check them out. 25-3 again. That baseball run, red hot. Huge shout out to the chat box. Everybody joining us live. Robert in the house, David, Professor Chris, Rick White as well. We got De Silva. All you guys, thanks for chiming in here. Let us know what you're looking to bet this weekend. And if you're watching on replay, feel free to reply below. If you're liking the content, please smash that like button. Let's head to Adam Trigger up next, guys. Trig, I believe we got Mariners and Guardians. You're getting after this for your best bet?
Yeah, Drew, I have 2 4% plays in Major League Baseball today. One is up for sale on my page right now. And the other one I'm going to give you for free. First of all, this is like the beauty of sports betting, right? Like everyone's going to have differing opinions. So I respect Ralph's opinion here. I just see this game a different way. My 4% best bet is the Mariners, plus 117. I see a lot of value on this side today, and I'm going to break down why. So first of all, Drew, going back to something you asked about, I like to play against the it's going to be kind of a party in Cleveland today. They're unveiling their Central Division winning banner. I don't like that at all. I don't think that you should be putting up a banner for winning a division. It's like rushing the court, Drew. If you're a favorite and you are expected to win, you shouldn't rush the court. Travis Kelce's throwing out the first pitch, first home game of the year. I just think there's going to be a lot of fanfare. And I typically think that's a distraction. I think the last couple of years, I don't have hard numbers, but I remember last year, I think the Braves came out and were horrible in like their first series of the year where they were celebrating the World Series, stuff like that. So I tend to like to play against that. I also think it's a good revenge spot for Seattle. They just lost 3 of 4 to this Guardians team in Seattle last week. This is a rematch of a head-to-head last week, Logan Gilbert against Aaron Savale. Both pitchers pitched extremely well. Savale outdueled him for the win. But I'm far higher on Logan Gilbert than I am Savale coming into this year. Savale probably takes a step forward. Last year, he was injured, but he was just plagued by – it was just a really bad season. His command was off, battled a couple injuries, 4.92 ERA. He's a guy that I've kind of cooled on throughout the years. I was very high on him as a young prospect, and now I just don't know that he's going to ever sort of pan out to be what he was kind of supposed to be coming up in that organization. But Logan Gilbert, he is that guy, Drew. Like his whip since he came into the league 3 years ago is like sub 1.15. The Guardians, you going back to a question you asked me at the, during the other breakdown, they get on base a lot, and they probably do, they're a great example of a team that gets on base, draws walks. They're putting themselves in a great position to win games. The problem is Logan Gilbert doesn't give up many base runners. It is not easy to get on base against him. He doesn't walk many. He's not putting, he just doesn't put many guys on, as referenced by his low whip throughout his entire career. The Guardians bullpen is very good, but they've already racked up 30.1 bullpen innings on that road trip. Granted, they had a day off yesterday, but that bullpen has been stretched early and often throughout the year. I think they played 3 extra inning games on that road trip. The Mariners have just been a little bit disappointing to me, Drew. I came in very, very high on this team. I thought they had a real chance to contend in the AL West. I still think they do, but it was a very sloppy first week. Bunch of errors, 600 runs in the first week. Just pitching that wasn't up to snuff based on where I think it's going to be this year outside of Luis Castillo. I love Logan Gilbert. I've been talking about him on these shows for 3 years. I think he's the better arm here. I like the revenge spot. I think Cleveland could be a little bit distracted. So at plus 117 is where I lock this in for clients. I think the Mariners are a good bet, and it is a 4% client play for me.
That's what makes a market there, guys. We're giving out the analysis. You decide. And Trig, man, you're bringing up a lot of research there. I can tell Travis Kelce throwing out the first pitch. You knew that.
Throwing out the first pitch, I think. I think he's a Cleveland native, Drew. I think he's a Cleveland native. I just think it's going to be a party. I think it's going to be a party.
I love
Yeah.
Adam's
Go
such
ahead.
a Grinch, you know. He's like they're gonna have
Kelsey
a
went
party.
to
And I
Cleveland
don't
Heights
like
High
it.
School. He grew up in Cleveland his entire career. I will say this. For those that
He's a
don't
Cincinnati
know,
guy.
John
Cincinnati
Adams was a drummer who went to every game for 15 years. He passed away. The Indians are actually wearing a John Adams patch with drums today to celebrate him. And there's also a moment of silence for Gaylord Perry, who passed away last December. So, like you said, there's a lot of emotions. Drew, I did go to the database. Now, this doesn't apply here, but since 2018, home openers in Major League Baseball have actually been profitable. They've gone 36-19. The average line has been minus 164. So you're plus 6.3 units, which is plus 7% return on investment. So slight edge, but those are only home openers in game one, not home openers after you start series on the road.
Stat Daddy, bringing the heat. Ralph Michaels, I like it, man. Right on the spot, too, as we're going live here. Trig, I guess I was going to follow up with Travis Kelce throwing a strike from the mound. Do you have any handicap on that?
Plus minus.
I don't, Drew, but I'm sure he's going to throw an absolute seed. He's a great athlete. I expect him to come out, fire like a two-seamer. He'll probably be like low 80s, you know. Travis Kelce's not getting cheated. He's going to go out, probably throw a nice first pitch.
Oh, man. Love it. A little first pitch handicap there. We need like an offshore book to put up some lines. Guys, tough follow there. But for my best bet, I'm going to go, speaking of home openers here, Baltimore Orioles catching up as high as plus 115 on the money line. I bet both the money line and the run line for the best bet for the show, record keeping purposes here, guys. I'll go plus 1.5 with the home team. Which is the Baltimore Orioles here, minus 140 price tag on that. Dean Kramer, the pitcher for the Orioles, kind of rolling the dice with them a little bit. Out the gate, he had a rough first start stat-wise. However, his velocity was up. So the former UNLV Rebel here, I'm looking to actually back him. I think he's going to have a better start in his second start here against the Yankees. And surprisingly, doing the handicap here, weighted runs created plus actually favors the Orioles lineup out the gate. So we get the hotter lineup in the short sample size. And also surprisingly to me, the better bullpen whip as well from the Orioles. So the home opener with the O's going to take him here plus price, or at least plus 1.5 for the best bet, minus 140 on that. So taking the Orioles for my best bet, and throw it over to you, Ralph, if you got any final thoughts for the show, and what do you got for best bets?
2 bits of bookkeeping. I went to check out the stolen bases that Adam remarked on. Baltimore leads the MLB right now with 11 stolen bases with 1 caught stealing. Cleveland, 10 stolen bases with 2 caught stealings. Arizona, third, 9 stolen bases, 1 caught stealing. The Yankees, 9-2. And the White Sox and Pittsburgh, both 7 stolen bases with no caught stealings. So perhaps those are the teams that you keep an eye on early. We'll see if they'll continue. And this baseball play I'm giving and Cleveland were both my plays, so I have nothing to sell to you on WagerTalk. But I do want to give a shout out to Brandon. For those, this is the beginning of the season. You guys may not know Tokyo Brandon. It is 3 a.m. This guy lives in Tokyo, and he has actually been a Major League Baseball scout for 10 years. So you want to talk someone who is devoted to the game, knows baseball. Tokyo Brandon, we appreciate you waking up in the middle of the night to be on the show. So shout out to you. You've been a great addition to Wager Talk for the last couple years. My best bet, I'm going to go with the Angels. And you might say, wow, Angels were the most disappointing team last year. Toronto has so much love. How can the Angels be favored? Well, you know, I look at Toronto and they're 4-3 this year. And yes, they're off a 3-game winning streak, but you were at Kansas City as a favorite of 160, 180, and 220. I don't put much stock into that. Bassitt got shelled his first game, gave up, I think, 9 runs in 1 inning. So that type of turnaround is tough for someone of his age. And Sandoval is a guy for the Angels. He was 6-9 last year, but he might have been one of the most underrated pitchers. He had 27 starts, and the Angels only scored 4 runs or more 5 times in 27 starts. He had a 2.91 ERA, a great start the first time, I think there's value with the Angels as a small favorite. I did use them first 5 in this game because of their bullpen. So, again, that is an actual client release. LA Angels first 5 against Toronto.
Like it, Ralph. Giving a little love here to the chat box before we recap best bets. Tokyo Brandon, real quick here. Question for you, Clint, saying, Tokyo Brandon, would you prefer to take Trey Turner over 1.5 bases as opposed to scoring a run? You can get better odds. I'm seeing it as high as plus 120. Any difference there in terms of scoring a run prop and total bases 1.5, Tokyo Brandon?
Well, the odds are different because scoring a run is plus 110, and scoring a run is more difficult technically. But I think scoring 1 run is easier than getting 2 bases, in my opinion. I agree that just 1 hit, you can get 2 bases if it's a double, triple, or a home run. But the fact that the actual size of the bases are bigger this year, there are more stolen bases. Pitchers can't do as many checks on the runners. I like him to score a run better than I like 2 bases.
All right, Tokyo Brandon, thanks for that, guys. In recap here, best bets. I'm on the Orioles plus 1.5, minus 140. You heard Ralph, LA Angels first 5, minus 120. Tokyo Brandon, Trey Turner runs over a half a run, plus 110. Adam Trigger, Seattle Mariners plus 117. Guys, that does it for the show. Have a great Good Friday here and a profitable weekend. Thanks for tuning in. We will be back Monday, 2 o'clock Eastern time. Come back and join us on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. Check out Ralph Michaels, Tokyo Brandon, Adam Trigger, WagerTalk.com. I am Drew Martin. Cash those tickets. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Enjoy the weekend.
The NBA playoffs start the second week of April, with the NHL playoffs scheduled to begin immediately after. Whether you're looking to raise the Stanley Cup or lift the Larry O'Brien Trophy, we've got the deal for you. Postseason subscriptions are already a great deal at $219, but with this early bird special, we're slashing it even more to just $177 each, and you get the rest of the regular season for free. Between now and Sunday, April 9th, partner with your favorite NBA or NHL handicapper and get their NHL or NBA best bets all the way through the finals. No coupon is needed. Head to the homepage of your favorite WagerTalk or Sports Memo expert and finish the NBA and NHL postseason with a bang.